Are y'all ready?
I'm good.
No.
Ivy's not.
All right, now I'm ready.
What did you? Okay, the boof. I understand. The Zaza.
Holy
Camera
shit.
freaked
You
out
went-
when that happened.
Did not
You
like
went
that.
transparent. That was cool.
All right, welcome to Mutant Puke, another interview episode. I'm Jake,
And I'm Ivy.
and we have a very special guest with us, Matt Goings of All Gone Gray. Also produces
Hello.
I Met a Yeti stuff and many other bands, I'm sure.
Yes.
Nice to meet you, Matt.
Nice to meet you too.
How's this wonderful Wednesday going for you?
It's good so far. Been rehearsing for All Gone Gray's first show of 2023, which is happening next week in Kissimmee. Just did a run through at home just by myself.
Cool.
So that was fun.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely want to hop into All Gone Gray stuff, but I like to start with origin stories on this podcast because I just love band history, and it's always nice to know where someone's coming from. So how did your music journey start?
Okay. Do you want to start with the start of All Gone Gray or before All Gone Gray?
Let's start before, like literally, why are you into music kind of stuff?
Okay. Cool. So when I was a kid, I pretty much was only interested in video games. That was all I really cared about doing. I wanted to be a video game designer, even though I didn't really know what that fully entailed.
Yeah.
I basically wanted to make Pokemon games.
Jeez, that's cool.
So that's what I started out wanting to do. And then eventually I came across the Donkey Konga video game.
Let's
GameCube.
go. That's a classic.
No way you're about to say Donkey Konga led into your
I am
music
about to say
career.
Donkey Konga. That is the start. I heard All the Small Things by Blink-182, and that changed my
Over.
life.
It's over.
This has to be the
I'm dead
craziest
serious.
first minute of a podcast I've ever. Donkey Konga led to All Gone Gray.
Seriously, I was Konging to All the Small Things when I was like 13 or whatever. I don't remember when that game came out, but basically then I got Yahoo Launchcast. I'm dating myself a bit by saying that.
Yeah, yeah, I don't
It
know
was
what that
like
is.
it was like a precursor to Pandora,
Oh.
where you basically put in an artist and then it would make a radio station based around them.
Yeah.
So I put in Blink-182, and then it was like, ooh, here's Yellow Card, here's Good Charlotte, here's all these other pop punk bands. So that was kind of my intro to getting into music, like caring about it at all. And then I think I just started watching music videos on Yahoo. I remember seeing Holiday by Green Day and like Ocean Avenue by Yellow Card.
Classic.
And I was like, ooh, playing guitar looks cool. I want to do that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that started. Got my first guitar at the end of middle school. Didn't really know how to play it for a while. I would just like play like every string just open without even fretting. And just be like,
That's just
I'm
math
playing
rock.
guitar.
Or Midwest emo.
Yeah,
That's all
it
that
was-
is.
Yeah, so that was pretty fun. I just did that for a bit until I finally got lessons on how to play guitar. When was that? Sophomore year of high school or something. So I'm like maybe 17. That's when I actually learned how to play guitar.
Did you learn on
and
like
then-
electric or acoustic?
Electric.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people learn on acoustic, but I didn't really have any interest in acoustic guitar. It's like everything I liked was like power chord, pop punk, like heavy distortion kind of stuff, and that's all I was interested in. I
Nice.
didn't care about playing like acoustic love songs
Don't
or
care
any
about
crap
Wonderwall.
like that.
Wonderwall didn't touch you.
No. I skipped over all the like the classic rock songs that most people learn on guitar. I was just like, all right, I'm gonna learn Damn It by Blink-182, All the Small Things by Blink-182. Like, it's over here in the studio, but I got a Blink-182 sheet music book of their greatest hits,
cool.
and it has tabs in there, and that's how I learned all those songs.
Do y'all
I
ever
did that. I
cover
did
them?
the.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
my
was gonna
first
say-
band.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just gonna
Fucking,
say,
I'm ruining the podcast. I'm sorry.
You're so good. I was just gonna say my first band, is a crappy pop punk band. We were called Stop Wondering, and started out just playing like Blink-182, MXPX covers, and then started writing our own stuff that was mostly Blink-182 and MXPX ripoffs.
Was it better or worse than edging?
I'd say it was worse.
Okay.
Our stuff
Oh,
was
no.
our stuff was very cringy, very like I'm a nice guy, you should date me, like
Oh,
don't
no.
friend-zone me kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We didn't have lyrics that were literally that, but that was
Yeah.
the vibe.
Yeah.
And I definitely hate everything we wrote.
Is any of that on the line at all, do you think?
Some of it's on YouTube.
Okay. That's
So
All Gone Gray fans. Stop wondering.
You can find it. It's actually, I think a lot of it's still on my YouTube channel. You can see us playing at a church that was filmed on VHS, which makes it seem like it's older than it is. But my mom just had a VHS recorder still in like 2009.
That's so cool. That's
Pulled up
actually
with this giant
sick.
VHS recorder and taped us.
That's awesome, actually.
So it was, we did that for a little bit, and then that band fell apart. I started doing solo stuff. I think what really set me on the trajectory I've been on for a while now was like when I got introduced to Chiodos in like I think it was like 2011 or 2012, and that's when All Gone Gray switched from being a pop punk band to post-hardcore band. And
So is any All Gone Gray stuff? So I listened to all the All Gone Gray catalog for this, and the two albums from 2013 and 2014 felt very post-hardcore to me. Is there any pop punk All Gone Gray remaining on the internet?
Like you can hear the influence on some of those songs, especially on Oath, and probably Sick of Our Lives. Those are probably the two most pop punk ones we still have out. But we put out like some demos before the Hopeless EP. So like some of those are still around. Stay Away As I Fade Away, Forgive Me. Those are two of those songs. Because originally I played guitar in the band and sang, and we did more pop punky stuff. But then I was like, I don't want to play guitar. I'm just gonna sing, and I want two guitarists to do like cool noodly stuff while I sing really high.
Yeah.
instead of me doing crappy pop punk, which is what we kind of started out as.
This is such a crazy origin story to me because it's like almost exactly the same as mine. Like
Donkey Konga?
like insanely. No, mine was Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. I didn't have Donkey Konga. But like the physical like tab books, like I think I had the same, or at least my dad had the same Blink-182 one. But for some reason, I like went and started learning the fucking Weezer one instead. But then I was in like a shitty pop punk band like in high school, and then like we evolved into something else, and now I do post hardcore. It's just super funny. It's like the exact same like relative timeline.
Yeah, it's that pop punk to post hardcore pipeline.
It's
you
real.
got to
It's
go down
Donkey
it.
Kong to post hardcore. We've established it. Donkey
What it
Kong
is.
leads to
Okay,
post-hardcore.
yeah.
Now,
It's the bongos.
now is All Gone Gray, is it like your project that other, like, is there a band to it? I didn't do enough research. I'm sorry. I'm interested.
I consider it more of a band than my own project. Like I have a solo project, which I just release stuff as Matt Goings. There's some stuff I put out as a Cry for Help, but I'm not really using that name anymore. Okay. But yeah, All Gone Gray I'd say is a full band, not really like a solo thing.
Yeah. So you put out two EPs, one in 2013, one in 2014, and then there's a big gap, a big Mars Volta sized gap. What happened there?
And I think the easiest way to say what happened there is, or at least like on my end, was that so we have this album we've been working on that is almost done. No, we are going to be putting it out this year.
Sick.
Hold me to it. Hold me to it.
We'll
Sue
review
me
it
if I don't put it out this year.
Yep.
But
Everyone,
literally, when we started the album, like the folder for it on my computer was 2018 full length. Then I changed it to 2019 full length. Then I changed it to 2020 full length, and then I got rid of the year because I realized that trying to set a timeline for it before it was like close to done was kind of silly. So yeah, basically we only really had, I think it was maybe 3 or 4 years where we didn't do as much, and then started on the full length. But basically it was a lot of lineup changes. Our drummer left, took a while to replace him, went through a couple people, didn't really work out. Then our guitarist moved to Austria, and it's taken us a while to replace him. We finally have somebody now, John Serra, who plays in Social Vinyl Club, is playing with us now.
Awesome.
So yeah, it was we played some shows in 2015, 2016, 2017, and 18 and 19. But yeah, it took forever to like get everything written and then recorded, because I self-produce and mix everything myself on top of like doing that full time with other bands. So a lot of times the All Gone Gray stuff gets lower priority. So that's kind of what has happened that has made it take so long.
Yeah.
But we were really happy to finally put out a new song in the end of 2021, putting out This Doesn't Feel Right, and then we put out Three Arrows right after that. And we're getting close to putting out some new stuff. It'll be out soon.
The new stuff's really good as well. And
thank you.
I'm pretty sure about this. Daisy has not always been in the band, correct? The new stuff correct. Is her introduction. Well,
yeah.
How did that happen?
So what's really funny is a lot of people think that she's on A Beautiful Mess. And I think that's mostly because, so next week we're playing a show with Arrow 404. This is really cool. Like, how do you describe them? It's kind of like geek core, Nintendo core, chiptune
Error
core.
404. Nice.
Yeah, Error 404. Yeah, they're really cool. But basically, when I decided I wanted to start doing a post-hardcore band instead of pop punk, I realized I didn't really know how to scream. I just did like really shitty inhale screams. I just sounded like a dumb pterodactyl. It was really bad. And so I was like, can somebody please scream with us? Eventually we met those guys, and so Jacob Spiegel from Arrow 404 was our first screaming vocalist. So he was on Hopeless. We had another guy, Nick Beatty, scream on 2 songs on Hopeless, but then Jacob Spiegel changed up his screaming technique a little bit on A Beautiful Mess, so he sounds a little different. I feel like that's where the confusion gets, where some people think that's Daisy.
Yeah.
But basically, he couldn't commit to touring and stuff, and he was never an official member. But so then we okay, we want an official member. Daisy had I met Daisy in college, and she did a cover of our song Deeper Than Roxanne. So that's how I found out that she was really into our band. So I was basically like, hey, scream with us. So so she joined shortly after A Beautiful Mess came out, and that's when we put out the Kawaii Queen demo. I think that was like November of 2014. So I think she joined somewhere around there, maybe October of 2014, I think it was.
And for anyone who doesn't know listening, Daisy is I Met a Yeti's vocalist. Yeah, she's also in All Gone Gray, multiple talents, people, and Rosilia.
Yes, yeah. Can't forget Rosilia. They're so good.
I think she's competing with Sam Naz to be in the most things, the most bands.
Yeah, she's awesome.
We asked you a question, taking a break from the little lore. We wanted to rank My Chemical Romance albums with you. Unfortunately, I've never listened to them.
Shit. You've never even listened to them.
I've listened to The Black Parade once.
The album or just the song?
The song at first, but then last year I listened to the album once. And I've listened to Teenagers about 1 million times, but that's the only one. So it's gonna be it's gonna be Teenagers number 1.
A lot of people fall into that because I've noticed that Teenagers is by far their like top song on Spotify, but it's the song I listen to them the least. So I'm like the opposite. I feel like most people that are big My Chem fans don't really care about that song.
Yeah, that's the vibe I get.
Yeah,
I fucking hate that song.
Yeah, I used to hate it. It's grown on me a little bit, but I still will sometimes skip it, and I never just put it on by itself. I'm never like, ooh, I'm in the mood to listen to Teenagers. That never happens.
I was thinking,
oh boy,
I was thinking about it today. It may be the first song I listened to where I was like, oh, music has like a point. Like songs can have a meaning. Like I was listening to, I'm a little younger than you, I think, Matt. So I ended up watching Teenagers or listening to Teenagers on YouTube through lyric videos, the good old days. And all I was listening to around that time was just Disturbed and Hollywood Undead, just pure garbage.
Good Lord.
I also listened to Hollywood Undead in high school.
Yeah, and this was the first time I was like, does this song mean what it says, or is there like a different thing? Is there like a metaphor? Like I was understanding metaphors through this song.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Black Parade is definitely full of metaphors, lots of themes on that one. Because once you find out that Gerard Way writes comics, that makes a lot of sense.
Oh,
like
yeah.
He's, really into stories and these deep things.
I love
It's not always like. That's not usually the approach that I take with lyric writing, where I feel like most of mine are like very literal.
Yeah.
But a lot of his are like these big stories and don't necessarily have to be something that he experienced necessarily.
Yeah, like a concept record. Yeah, I love his comic books, like Umbrella Academy. The first two volumes I really dug, and I love his Doom Patrol stuff. Anything Doom Patrol, I'll eat that shit up.
I'll need to check it out.
It's really good. I don't know. It's a little confusing because it's based on some older stuff. It's a whole thing. We can talk about the DC universe a different time, Matt Goings. We gotta talk about My Chemical Romance rankings. I don't even know the albums. So Ivy, you're gonna have to take point on this.
You don't know any of them?
Black
Do you have them at
Parade?
least pulled up?
No.
Do you even know their other biggest? You don't even know their other biggest album?
Three Cheers for something.
Oh yeah, that's
For Sweet Revenge.
I only know it because my friends, she has like the album, the record. She's like a huge My Chemical Romance head. So
yeah. Wow, you gotta at least listen to "I'm Not Okay" if you haven't heard it, because that's just like the emo anthem.
for a little spoiler, in the future we'll be doing a Patreon series on My Chemical Romance. Probably.
Sick.
Whoa.
So I will eventually listen to all these records, probably a couple times. So I'll be educated. It's just not at the moment.
Get educated. So we're doing least favorite to favorite, right? Like round table style.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I'm not involved, but yeah.
No, mama.
Teenagers.
Number one. I guess. Oh, this is hard because like I kind of didn't really listen to Danger Days because like okay, they have like a bunch of albums listed, but some of them it looks like they may be like compilation albums.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So Danger Days is the 2010 is like the last one they did before they went on hiatus, right?
They only have 4 actual albums.
Yeah. So I would probably rank that my least favorite. It wasn't that like I hated it or anything like that. So I went through this really, really long phase where I was obsessed with My Chemical Romance and I listened to them to death and now I can't like listen to them at all. I just can't anymore. But that album particularly, even back then, I just didn't really like care for. There really wasn't anything that brought me in. I think the only song I really like remember from it is like Na Na Na. I think that's the only one I remember.
Yeah, that's the main one people know off that one.
Yeah, so I'd have to put Danger Days, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys as my bottom ranked My Chemical Romance album.
Could have held a gun to Jake's head and Jake wouldn't have been able to tell you what that second line was.
No, not at all. I don't think most of the general populace should know, honestly.
Yeah, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys.
What if I make my own ranking just based on what I think the most popular would be? So I'm also gonna say for my least favorite, the newest one, Danger Days. Danger Days. The True Lives of Fabulous Killjoys.
The newest one came out in 2010. You might have heard about it.
I didn't.
Pretty recent.
You mean the year Shrek the Third came out? No, I wasn't paying attention to My Chemical Romance.
I was so busy watching Shrek.
Yeah, the worst Shrek movie. What's your least favorite My Chemical Romance album, Matt?
I'm about to ask what my least favorite Shrek movie was.
Well, it's Shrek the Third. It's everyone's
third.
least favorite.
The third.
If it's not the third, then we need to have a talk.
So it's tough. I go back and forth on whether or not I consider Conventional Weapons to be a My Chemical Romance album. So it was basically their scrapped record they did in between The Black Parade and Danger Days. It's part of why the sound is so drastically different between those two records, is they did a record in between, but then they decided to scrap it and go like way out there. So that record is kind of cool. They technically just put it out as a bunch of singles, but if you put them in order that they released them, I think it makes a nice sequencing for an album. So I listen to that a lot. I go back and forth on whether or not that would be my least favorite or Danger Days. I'll just say Danger Days and not consider Conventional Weapons a record to make it
no way
easier.
I would have known that existed. That's
I
not
didn't
on
even know that one was
Wikipedia.
there.
Conventional Weapons is so good. Danger Days is also really good. I just think some of the more like dancey party stuff that's on Danger Days I'm not really a big fan of, and then the more like we're a rock and roll band, like I don't really care about that stuff as more like
Roll.
yeah, like what Party Poison I think is one of those ones on Danger Days that I don't really care for. But
Yeah.
Danger Days has some really good songs on it though, like Scarecrow, Kids from Yesterday. Those are really great songs. So it's least favorite, but it is still a great record.
All right, I'm gonna go. This might be controversial. People might not like this opinion.
Okay.
The next one I'm gonna put is their first record. I Brought You My Bullets, You Brought Me Your Love. This was another one because when I started listening to My Chem, it was specifically the Black Parade. That was like what pulled me in. It was the Black Parade. I saw that music video for Welcome to the Black Parade and fucking creamed real hard and was like, oh my god, this is the best band ever. And then that's like all I listened to.
Was that actually how high pitched your voice was back then?
Oh yeah. Okay, sweet. Absolutely. It was probably more high pitched. This is like a total tangent, but there was my dad used to be in this like grunge band, and they needed like they were trying to do like gang vocals, but they wanted like different registers. So like they had like the three of them, and then they brought me in to do like the higher register.
I already know where this is going.
Nice.
So it's like I came in, like was like, yeah, like I don't even know what the fuck I was doing, but made it to the final song. But yeah,
your credits go way back.
oh yeah,
that's awesome.
Way
Yeah,
back.
grunge not typically known for high pitched vocals. It's usually sing really really low for grunge.
Yeah, I think it was like between like my dad and his best friend Jeremy were the two vocalists, and they had like
Nice.
different voices. So I think you can still find their music too. I don't know, deep lore. If you want to find their band, it's Mirror Rim. It's mirror with like mirrored over itself, so it's Mirror Rim. So you can find that somewhere.
Interesting.
I think it's like
I really liked grunge when I was in high school. Maybe I might still like it. Who knows?
who knows. But yeah, I gotta put I Brought You My Bullet, You Brought Me Your Love as the next one in line. It has some good bangers on it for sure. I just I don't know. I never really got into this one too much, and for that reason, I gotta put it a little bit lower, just a little bit.
Yeah. We we might end up having this similar list.
Yeah, I feel like I could predict this list so easily. Like Danger Day's worst one because it's the newest. The oldest one would be the least liked. The next like number 3 in line, because most new fans aren't into it, and older fans, it's not as good as Three Cheers, right? And then it's gonna be the Black Parade, because that's a curveball, I think, because the Black Parade is the most well regarded mainstream wise, but
Right.
but it's like not the album that Three Cheers is, right? Three Cheers is like the perfect sound for them. The second album, people love second albums. In Keeping Secrets, if I could think of another one, I'd think of another one. But that's my prediction. Also, the Go Gabba Gabba episode from 2011.
You're talking about the My Chem song on there. Every snowflake is different, just like you.
Yeah,
that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. So Bullets would be my third as well. I really love Bullets. Really love how dark and weird it is. A lot of cool screamy stuff on it. It's definitely their most emo. It has some of my favorite songs on there, like Demolition Lovers. But then it has a couple that are a little weak, like Cubicles and Early Sunsets aren't quite as strong. And their songwriting, you can tell that they're a new band on there, where, some of the songs are a little longer than they probably should be. So I feel like their songwriting really got better after it, but it's still a fantastic album, and yeah, it would be my third.
Hell yeah! I'm gonna move on, baby, to number 2. I'm gonna put Three Cheers here. Three Cheers is great. I would say
you're doing this to fuck with me. You changed it. I was on the money. I know it. I'm
fucking on to you. This has some of my most listened to My Chem songs for sure. Obviously, I love Helena, fucking I'm Not Okay, I Promise, The Ghost of You. I was obsessed with The Ghost of You. I fucking love that song. It's so good. I also was like on YouTube watching music videos and shit. So like I saw that for the first time, and again I was like, wow, this is crazy. And loved it. Absolutely loved this whole record. But it's not my number 1.
Literally. Dang. So yeah, here's where we diverge. Black Parade is my number 2.
I'm a genius.
Yeah.
All in a hard day's work,
Yeah. Black Parade is number 2. It's really not that much further up from Bullets, because they're both really great records. It's sometimes hard to rank these, but Black Parade would be second for me. It definitely took a while for me to like the Black Parade, just because I wasn't really into stuff like Queen when I was younger, and it took me a little bit longer to appreciate the very heavy Queen influence on this record. So like some of the more for lack of a better word, like flamboyant stuff on it, I didn't really care for. Like there's actually this is really funny. So on my iPod I had in high school, I actually had a version of Welcome to the Black Parade where I cut out the intro.
Oh my god!
And just had it start with the full guitars. Like I cut off all the "When I Was a Young Boy," all that stuff was off. I didn't like that.
That's like cutting the intro out of Bohemian Rhapsody.
I know. And it's heresy that I did that, but I did. It took me a while to grow on this record. I do really, really love it now. So it is my second favorite. Lots of great tracks on it.
That's why it's my number 1.
Nice segue.
Segues. Yeah. I absolutely love this record. It's what got me into My Chem. It was like I had this shit. I had the iPod too, that little iPod Nano, like the 3rd gen.
Yes.
And I used to fucking listen to this on repeat. Like there's only one song I don't like on this record, and that's Teenagers, as I recently said earlier. Is like,
My
I
number
fucking
one
hate
My Chemical
Teenagers.
Romance
I
album.
fucking
Really?
hate that song.
Really?
That song fucking blows. That shit sucks. It's fine if you like it, but you're wrong for liking it. But the whole album is just good. It's just good. Like, the whole fucking thing. There's not a single goddamn track, except for Teenagers, fuck that song, that I dislike. Like, I was listening to that shit. I can remember being like on the fucking highway in the back of my parents' car with my fucking iPod Nano. I had this shit in my headphones, and I would just like start at the beginning and listen to it all the way to the end, and then it would replay, and I would listen to it again. And it was like the drive between like Lexington and Cincinnati. Just like I had like an hour and a half to just like fucking listen to this album as many times as I could get through it. But absolutely love this shit. Like, the end into Dead is like great first two songs to start a record. The Sharpest Lives was always a personal favorite. Welcome to Black Parade is what got me into My Chemical Romance. I love Cancer and Mama as well. Last night I like ran to the store with my partner, and Cancer came on, and I was like singing along with it, and then they changed it. I was like, hey, yo, what the fuck? That was a banger. Put that back on.
Put it back right now.
Put it back. Go back one song, please.
Someone can't change the music if you're singing along to it. Is that not a clear?
I don't know. Maybe they changed it because they realized like how sad the song was, and they're like, "This is bumming out everybody, so we're gonna change this."
But it's a banger.
It's a banger.
Sad
You gotta
banger.
listen to the whole thing. But yeah, I fucking love this record, and yeah, that's number one, baby. Number one.
Yeah, it is number 2 for me. Great record. So first for me would be 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge. This is just the best. It is probably my, it's really hard to rank favorite records of all time. It's probably second or third records of all time, any band. It is so good. So good, so good. Helena was one of the first songs that All Gone Grey covered. We played that at our first show ever that got filmed and put on YouTube, and it has a lot of views actually.
Cool.
So if you look that up, All Gone Grey, Helena cover. So that was cool. Yeah, I'm obsessed with this record. I can listen to it over and over and over and over. It's just the perfect blend of like really catchy like pop punk influence, but then also like, there's screaming. It's got a good post-hardcore influence to it too. There's a lot of really weird stuff as well, like really weird dissonant chord progressions. I just think it is, just like the best emo record ever. That's what I would say.
Yeah, awesome. I'm definitely way more excited to listen to these records for that series on Patreon. Because I was like, I like that Black Parade song, and I like Teenagers.
Which is, it's funny because, I mean, aside from the latter half of Black Parade, like the intro of Black Parade and then all of Teenagers are so different from the rest of their stuff. Like, they don't have very many songs that sound like Teenagers, just because, that one's like the more like 12-bar blues kind of like classic rock influence song. Maybe you might like Danger Days because it has some stuff kind of similar, but I don't know. That song is like super different.
I feel like I may be an outlier. I can already feel it tingling at my fingers. Danger Days. I want to be different.
Fucking Lord.
Well, you might like Conventional Weapons too.
Yeah. Well, that's a deep lore. Let me just scratch the surface a little bit.
Sure.
Let's get into your producing stuff. How did that happen? Going from being in a band to producing bands?
So some of it came out of necessity, where it was basically like my first band. We went into the studio to record like a 3-song EP, and we spent, I don't even remember how much it was. any amount of money that is over $100 is a lot of money when you don't have a job and you're in high school.
Yeah.
So it may
Yup.
have not even been that much, but it felt like a lot for what we got. We basically paid this guy a lot of money and it sounded like crap. He only knew how to do like classic rock stuff because we're in Daytona Beach and that's just how it is in Daytona. People only care about classic rock, biker bar kind of stuff here.
Yeah.
So all the studios that were around at that time only did that kind of stuff. So yeah, our stuff sounded bad and it's like, okay, let's try recording ourselves instead. So our guitarist Richard got an interface. I think he got a MacBook when he was going to might have been when he was going to college, or he might have actually had one before then. It's hard to remember what exactly we recorded on. But basically we managed to get GarageBand and an audio interface and like 2 mics. So we put like 1 mic on the drums and then one mic on like each guitar amp or whatever, and just like overdubbed, like recorded each thing. And then he had no idea how to mix, but I had GarageBand access at my TV production class in high school because we had Macs there. So I loaded up the session on there, and then that was my first time ever mixing a song. That song is called So What If by Stop Wondering. It is on YouTube. I'll just go ahead and say it. It's pretty bad, but that's the first mix I ever did, so people can hear that. That's
a nice thing to have.
My intro to it. So yeah, from there, just started doing sound more, local venues and stuff, and just started recording some of my own stuff, and people were already like, ooh, this sounds nice, like even without me really knowing what I was doing. So then it came time to like actually learn. So I went to school for it, music production at Daytona State College. Went to school there for 2 years and just started like recording bands for like $20 a song or something.
Nice.
Like just my friends, doing like program drums, amp sims and stuff like that. Really easy. Eventually I got enough mics to start doing live drums. Started recording like All Gone Gray, like we did. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second.
Yeah, that's
so
fine.
our first EP somebody else recorded, and we also didn't really like how that came out. So that was kind of like a diversion where I was like, oh, maybe I should try someone else. And they're like, no, I should just keep doing it myself. And that's what I've been doing ever since. But basically, it's like, then we did A Beautiful Mess by myself. A lot of people like that. Then this band called Odessos that Richard, who's in All Gone Gray, started. I did their stuff, and they started to blow up in Florida. And that's kind of how the ball started getting rolling with pretty much all word of mouth, like bands coming to me. And the beginning of 2019 is when I started doing it full time.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, you said Odessos is one, or am I saying that right? I'm sorry, Odessos?
Odessos, like
Odessos.
Odessos. They're like an indie rock band. Really cool stuff.
Is it difficult to mix? Like, is there a genre that's more difficult to mix than other genres? That kind of thing?
I would say one of the hardest things to do with mixing is mixing a band where they want it to be raw, but not so raw that it sounds like a demo.
Yeah.
but they really don't want it to be overproduced.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff can be really difficult. Because it's like, okay, so I should tune the vocals, but I should only tune like the notes that are noticeably off. Or I shouldn't EQ the drums quite as much as I would, but I should EQ them because if I don't, it's just gonna sound like crap.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. It's a little more like I don't know, like lo-fi indie emo, that kind of stuff. That can be a huge challenge. Where I sometimes feel like the overproduced stuff that I sometimes do with more like poppier artists, that's almost comes easier. Because then I can just pull out every trick I have. But the ones where I have to like not pull out all of them, that can sometimes be really hard.
Yeah, I could totally see bands asking for raw but not too raw, you know?
Yes.
Some slightly cooked cookie dough. A little bit.
Yeah. Good stuff.
I want it to sound like shit, but like palatable.
Good
Like
shit.
you can eat off the
Yeah.
ground. Yeah.
Like a good shit.
Well,
Yeah.
this is off topic completely, and this will probably be the most annoying question to you. Daytona, is that the race car place? Like Daytona 500? Like NASCAR?
It sure is.
How is that? How is that being in that town?
It's always kind of sucked. One thing that did happen that has been nice-ish is that Rockville, which has mostly happened in Jacksonville, hence the name, like had to start moving to Daytona because there was basically something was happening where they couldn't do it in Jacksonville anymore.
Yeah.
So they started doing it in Daytona. They do tend to mostly do butt rock bands, but they have brought in like some bands like Sleeping with Sirens, Dance Gavin Dance, Fever 333. Trying to think of other like more like scene bands that had on there, but basically, it's nice that with that we've actually had like national relevant bands come to Daytona because typically you're either going to like a DIY like hardcore show at Turnanog or you're going to see a Journey tribute band like or like just some crappy biker bar cover band. Like that's what the music scene has been here for a really long time. Like so it's tough because it's not like Orlando where they bring in a lot of like, you know, not big like I mean, they obviously have their national touring bands, but they have like smaller bands that you know, can headline shows and then you bring in locals for support for them. We don't really have a lot of that in Daytona. Like the last time I think any bands like Yellowcard or Fall Out Boy came through here was in like 2005.
Damn.
God damn.
Jesus.
Yeah, so it's like we don't have like a good music scene here. Has been kind of the struggle. So yeah.
I got weirdly lucky when I moved here to Lexington, Kentucky. It's like home of Emarosa and Too Close to Touch. Like for whatever reason, this town just has a lot of post-hardcore shit coming out.
Too Close to Touch is so good.
Oh yeah. Rip Keaton.
Yeah.
So sad. But
No.
oh no, I'm sad. Damn it.
No, I'm sad too. They're so good.
Ivy, take the ropes here.
Take the ropes. All right, I can say that like a big reason that I moved to Orlando to begin with is because it has like a pretty good music scene here, pretty good pool. They have like really good promoters. Like I know like Montgomery Drive, like they're great.
Shout out Marshall.
Yeah, Marshall.
Love
Marshall. He always puts on good shows, always gets good bands in. He's really chill to talk to. Like the scene in Orlando is really good in general. But at the very least, at least it's like pretty close to Daytona. Like I've gone up to Daytona quite a few times with Daisy. And yeah, the drive is like nothing. It's like what, an hour and a half, something like that.
Yeah,
Maybe even less sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's kind of crazy the like scene in Florida, just like the various different like big cities, since Florida's so fucking long. Like what you get in every different city, like, but you know, from like Keely was telling me like all this, like there's all kinds of shit in Miami. Like Miami has this like ridiculous fucking music scene, and pretty much anything in South Florida there's like pretty much interest for anything you could ever want. And then Orlando has like their various like shows and artists that they put on, from like, you know, the post-hardcore to one night we went, there was like I don't know what you would consider them. The band's called Trash. They were touring back in, I think it was October, and we went and caught a show. It was Daisy, like the rest of Yeti, and then Keely and I, and then we went over to Will's Pub and caught their show. But it's like you have stuff like that going on at like Will's Pub, and then like right next door, at like the other bar that's like connected to Will's Pub, there was like a country concert going on like at the same time. It's like both venues were packed. So like it's just, I don't know, it's just cool. I know like Tampa and like St. Pete have a pretty cool scene as well. Jacksonville has a couple bands. I don't know, it's just crazy like from city to city how diverse it is. And even though and then you have like Daytona with the classic rock. It's very reminiscent actually the way you talked about it of Cincinnati where I like grew up. Pretty much you get either like tribute bands, occasionally you'll get like a big tour package that'll come through. And that's like if it's a huge tour package, they'll play at like the stadium. And if it's like a smaller one, like I saw the DGD 10-year anniversary tour at a venue called Bogart's that I think is technically owned by Ticketmaster.
I've been there.
Yeah, so like I don't know, you get a pretty good, sometimes good bands will come through, but because it's the Midwest, like you know, there's other cities that are better. Like you just go a little bit north or a little bit east. They're just like, oh, I really want to fuck with that city. So you get a lot of like, hey, come on down we got the fucking Journey tribute band again for this third week in a row.
Like, yeah. Daytona has this thing where we have some bigger venues, but it's only used for that kind of stuff, which will be interesting to see what happens with time, because eventually some of those people will, you know, they're getting kind of old.
No more Journey.
There won't always be a demand for bands from the 70s, like tribute bands to bands from the 70s. You know, are they just gonna switch over to doing like only Blink-182 tribute bands?
Yeah,
like,
that was my
Green Day, bands? The Offspring.
You know, or will they, you know, eventually realize that they should actually have like relevant current bands come to there? I don't know. You know, we have this cool big venue called the Ocean Center in Daytona, and the only time I've ever seen a relevant band there was when I saw the Jonas Brothers there in 2011.
Sick.
Fucking ripped.
What happened to the Jonas Brothers came back and then left again?
I have no idea.
They said, fuck it, we're too big for this, and they bounced again.
Well, the singles they put out were kind of garbage, so that's just my hot take of the episode.
They ain't got shit on when Big Time Rush came back and put out those singles. Those one, heat. Not unironically. Fire songs.
I didn't even know that happened.
I
listen
definitely
to them. I'm telling you,
heard those.
The Big Time Rush songs that came out like within the last couple years, bangers.
All right,
I'll take your word for it.
I'm telling
you. Awesome, Florida, truly a crazy place. Only been there once.
It's a state.
Destin, Florida. It is a state.
It's always fucking Destin. God. Why everybody from the Midwest comes down to goddamn Destin, Florida.
I've never been to Destin. Why would you go there? Like, why not like Orlando? That's where most.
I don't know.
Like most people go.
Yeah, my girlfriend picked out the spot. Well, her and her friends went there like a week before, and she liked it so much she wanted to go for another week. So I went with her that time. So
okay, cool.
For whatever reason, her friends picked it. I think they got like a good hotel deal or something. You know, it's near the beach. It's like nothing special. We had some cool milkshakes that were way too filled up. Those are probably like at every single Florida establishment.
Yeah. What do we got? The fucking we have those like. This was new to me moving here. They have the fucking what is it, sweet treats or something like that. They're like shaped like big ass ice cream cones, like the building itself. Yeah, they got those, and then the Jeremiah's ice or some shit like that. Yep. People fucking go nuts for that shit. It'll be like 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, and there's a line out the parking lot. I'm like, what the fuck are you people doing here? Go home. Like, leave these poor workers alone.
People in Florida love their ice cream.
Do y'all have 7-Eleven there?
Oh yeah. They're everywhere.
Yeah, it feels like a 7-Eleven state.
I got one right down the street next to the Perkins.
Ooh, I'm jealous.
I don't want to make this tiny story too long, but basically it was a couple years, well, maybe 10 years ago now actually. I'm old. So it's like 10 years ago, a bunch of my friends did the 7-Eleven like free Slurpee Day thing
Ah,
on
yes.
7-Eleven. And there are so many in Daytona that we basically went to every single one back to back and tried to drink our free Slurpees before we got to the next one. And that was
Oh
hard
my god,
because
the brain freezes.
there's so many of them. They're so close together. We basically ended up with like I think some of us had like 17 Slurpees that day.
Holy
So,
shit. You should have got like one of those like igloo fucking coolers with the like spigot on the front and just like dumped them in. Like go on to the next one, like or well, just make a round trip and keep going and grabbing a new one. Put on like a fake mustache and like go back into the first one.
yeah.
It's been a while since I lived around one. Is the Slurpee thing you get that free tiny Slurpee cup, or is it you bring your own cup and you can fill it up for free? Because I think those are both things that have happened. That's
Usually
7-Eleven.
you use their cups and they have they'll give you really really small ones for the free Slurpee Day,
Yeah.
but they can get massive. People get these giant freaking cups
Oh yeah,
like
big gulps.
bigger than my head and just fill it up with Coca-Cola Slurpee and just drink that down and get diabetes.
I'm weirdly attached to 7-Eleven because my grandma works there. She's worked there like my whole life, so
I love that.
Shit.
yeah, I've been there
Dedication.
a lot. It's not because she likes it.
No, she loves that
Oh
shit.
no.
7-Eleven in her veins.
Yeah.
Lives and dies by the
Oh my
fucking
God.
7-Eleven.
Let me just say,
employee
I
code.
have no other platform to talk about this. The aliens and
Use it.
cowboys Slurpee flavor was so goated. I drank
What
that
flavor?
Aliens and Cowboys, the movie.
Yo, they were fucking with you.
I definitely didn't know they'd made a flavor for that.
They made a flavor. It was blue, and I'll say this: the blue Mountain Dew is the closest thing I've ever had that tastes like it. You know, it's been so many years. It's like it's ethereal now. It's like it's a memory of a taste, but yeah,
It's that like blue raspberry kind of thing.
yeah, I think, yeah,
Yeah.
Please.
maybe I should like make a blue Mountain Dew slushy and see if it's the same.
Do it.
I mean,
Probably good.
I've been told that Baja Blast is basically just regular Mountain Dew and Gatorade.
Yeah,
So
I've
you
heard
could
that.
probably figure it out.
Wow.
Well, I've heard Mountain Dew's just like lemon or something, like or orange. It's like made of orange, like it's orange
Citrus.
flavor, which it doesn't taste. It's like Mountain Dew flavor. It doesn't taste like orange to me. I've never had an orange and says this shit tastes like Mountain Dew. It's just never happened.
Damn. This orange tasting Mountain Dewy as fuck.
Matt, we're about near the time we should start winding down. I have a question for you. It's an important question.
Yes.
I've asked it to every guest we've had so far. Say a band comes in and they're wanting your production done. The band name is Chicken Run Dreamcast. What do you think about that?
Are their songs good?
They haven't made any yet.
I mean, they're gonna need some songs.
Like, what do
I
you
mean,
think they sound like?
Oh, it was Chicken Run Dreamcast. That's the name of the band.
Yeah, it's not a real band, to be clear. This is just a
I
hypothetical.
feel like they are like kind of like I don't know. They're definitely music theory nerds. It's kind of like progressive, like indie, like very funky. Their bassist absolutely plays with a 7-string bass, for sure. Would never use a pick on the bass. Never. Yeah. They might be cool. They might have one song that's kind of catchy.
Let's go. I asked another band, and one of the members just said, I don't know. I guess they do well. It's like, just killed me. It's like, well, of course. Thank you for your time, Matt. Plug your stuff. Plug all
welcome.
your stuff. You know?
Yeah.
All your bands, all your projects.
So yeah, All Gone Grey is my band. We put out 2 songs in the last 2 years. We're gonna put out a full length this year. Probably drop another single or two in the next couple months, so stay tuned on that. Follow us on all the socials on Spotify, and then my recording stuff. That's under either my name, Matt Goings, or Killian Studios. So come record with me, or if you don't live near me, send me your stuff and I'll mix it, master it, edit it, whatever.
Yeah, I forgot to say, I love the song Speechless from your solo stuff. Like,
thank you.
End of that song is like killer. It kind of caught me by surprise.
It's so fast.
Left you speechless.
That was almost an All Gone Grey song, but we decided it was too pop punk, so I made it a solo song.
It's feeling a little too pop punk to me.
Yeah, that was basically the call.
Yeah, I think 2 was my like second favorite song last year to come out last year. Like,
I really appreciate that.
That song is incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, if you want to cry, go listen to that song. It's really sad.
That one's
Whew.
Is there gonna be a 3? I thought maybe it was 2 for
not.
20.
I hope the fuck not.
You can listen to the song and you'll know why it is so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you like this episode, you should check us out on YouTube and Spotify and all that stuff. Wherever you're listening on, you can give us 5 stars or a like or all that type of stuff. We'd really appreciate it. It helps with the motherfucking algorithm. And, drop a comment. Your favorite My Chemical Romance album. I won't know if it's good or not, but I'll like it probably, and that'll also
name whatever you want, and they'll probably think it's a My Chem album.
Comment down below the 2011 Yo Gabba Gabba episode with My Chemical Romance. We also have a Patreon, patreon.com/Mutant Puke, where we post weekly bonus podcasts for just $1 a month. It's a great value proposition, I'd say. And our Twitter and Instagram, all Mutant Puke. Everything, if it's Mutant Puke, it's probably me. Unless it's saying some heinous shit, then it's not me. If someone's just using my name, don't. It might be Ivy. It might be Ivy.
It might be me. It might be me.
All right. Thanks again, Matt, and we'll see.
Yeah, my pleasure.
We'll see you next week. As always, bye.